Hello and welcome to ThePrint. This is Akanksha Mishra and you're watching Scientifix, where I will be taking you through this week's top science news from across the world. Our first story today is about how, because of fast disappearing forests in Brazil, more and more mosquito species are getting used to human landscape, and now some even prefer human blood. A study published by Brazilian researchers in the Frontiers in Ecology and Evolution journal found that in the Atlantic forest, more and more mosquitoes were feeding on humans as opposed to other animals. The researchers set up traps along the forest and captured over 1700 mosquitoes from 52 species. And they were able to trace the food sources by analyzing the blood that was carried by the female mosquitoes. Majorly, they found human blood in the mosquitoes, with a few feeding on amphibians and birds and also on mice. The study explained that even though the Atlantic forest had a diversity of animal and bird species to feed on, over a third of the forest has been lost due to deforestation. As wildlife is pushed to the fringes, mosquitoes become more used to human settlements. Then, as they develop a preference for human blood, there's an increased risk of pathogen transfers of not just known deadly diseases like Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever, but also newer interspecies transmitted diseases. Next up, scientists from Copenhagen might have just solved one of the biggest mysteries of astronomical observations in their new paper in the Nature journal. The researchers were trying to understand what were the red dots that are seen in images taken by the James Webb Telescope of the early universe. There have been many theories propounded by scientists since the JWST began functioning in 2021, such as the theory that these red dots are massive galaxies in their early form, which are powerful enough that we can see their signatures even now. But now, the new paper by scientists from the Niels Bohr Institute in Copenhagen says that the dots are actually young black holes. The black holes are rapidly growing and they appear red because they are surrounded by ionized gas, which they are consuming to grow larger. According to one of the authors of the study in a press release, when gas falls towards a black hole, it spirals down into a kind of funnel towards the surface of the black hole. It ends up going so fast and it's squeezed so densely that it generates temperatures of millions of degrees and it lights up brightly. This is the explanation for the dots that we see in the JWST early images. Early black holes that are growing just millions of years after the universe was formed. Next up, we have a study in Communications, Earth and Environment which talks about the chance discovery of mummified cheetahs and cheetah skeletons in Saudi Arabian caves, and how this could reignite conversations about a possible reintroduction of the species into the country. Just like in India, cheetahs went extinct in Saudi Arabia too, where they used to roam at least until a century ago. Now, scientists from the National Center of Wildlife in Riyadh came across 7 naturally mummified cheetahs and 54 cheetah skeletal remains in some caves in the country. They used radiocarbon dating and genome sequencing to find that the remains dated as far back as 4,200 years to just over a century ago. But they also made another important discovery. Not all the cheetahs belong to the same genetic subspecies. While it was previously believed that Saudi Arabia, like India and Iran, was home only to the Asiatic cheetah subspecies, the mummies proved them wrong. There were also remains of West African cheetahs in the caves, indicating that there was a lot more genetic diversity in the Saudi Arabian cheetah population before extinction. This means, according to the scientists, that while thinking about reintroducing cheetahs to the country, they can now look beyond just Asiatic cheetahs. Finally, a study by UK scientists published in the BMJ found that fingertip pulse oximeters are less reliable on dark skin than on light skin. The study was conducted on over 900 patients across 24 National Health Service units in the UK using 5 different types of pulse oximeters. These are machines that are designed to measure blood oxygen levels through fingertips, and they were a common sight during the COVID-19 pandemic. The science of these machines is that they measure oxygen in the body using light. However, since dark skin absorbs more light, the machines were found to overestimate the blood oxygen level in darker skin tones. All 5 machines consistently gave higher oxygen readings for darker skin tones as compared to lighter ones at the same true oxygen level. On average, the readings were 0.5 to 1.5% higher than normal levels. And this could mean that in case of actual emergencies, there is a chance that the machine could miss low blood oxygen levels in patients with a darker skin tone. The study cautioned against relying solely on these devices and advised that doctors need to take additional measures to ensure that they are getting the correct readings for their patients. That's all we have for you today. Thank you for tuning into The Print.